Hello, everyone. Jane here from Your Way Weight Loss. And today we have Erika from America. We have the confidence queen, a confidence coach, our girl, Erika Kramer. Woo,
Woo! Pew, 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 pew.
Oh my gosh. It's just too much.
I just welcome. Erika Kramer, right now it is morning for you, evening for us. We are so grateful that you made us fit into your day. We love you.
We love you. I love you. Australia loves you. Yeah, I'm in the future. So the future's looking good. Just saying.
Good.
I was trying to explain to my 7-year-old this whole thing. And I'm like,
Yes.
for her, it's tomorrow morning. And Jeff was trying to explain like the sun and we don't
Oof.
see the sun and there's only one sun. And then I realized how she had no clue what was happening. I'm like, we need to buy a globe. Like tomorrow we buy a globe. Oh my goodness. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy. My face already hurts from like before we started recording.
I mean, Alicia got dressed just for this occasion.
Oh, you're like my Cardi B from Canada. Alicia, you look hot. I need that jacket. You got the hoops, girl.
I knew I was in my closet and I was like, if I was going out with Erika, this is what I would wear.
Oh my God, that is great. I'm going to say to people, if you're coming to an event, what would you wear if we were going to go out together?
Oh, yes.
So much pink. So much pink in the room.
Pink and cheetah, girl.
I love it.
I saw one of your pictures. I think you were with your team or whatever, and you guys had all like kind of branded that picture. One had like a tied up shirt that was pink around her waist, and like everyone was kind of in black, and then you had like the hat, and I was like, oh, this pic is everything.
It's good. We love it.
Oh, we're so happy you're here. We didn't really have Alicia has notes. I have a blank piece of paper. I'm like, we can pretend I make notes, but we all know how I roll and how she rolls. We want to talk about you. We want to hear from you. And I do feel like the conversation is going to flow. Like it's going to be good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Always.
like our members adore your content. And like when we stumbled upon you, I think like I had searched in Apple self-love. I think that's what happened. And your podcast really came up and I started listening to your stuff and I'm like, Jose, like you need to follow this girl. And she had already been following you. I don't know how she found you on social media.
For me, someone had tagged you under a post that I had made and was like, you need to follow the Queen of Confidence. So
Stop, I love you.
Just like hit follow, whatever. It's like, you need to follow this girl. This was a long time ago. So I had been following you for a while.
What
and
is
when
the
Alicia
internet?
said that, I'm like, what? I'm already following this girl. She has a podcast. Like I had not gone into kind of your platform. So it was
just scrolling through your topics of your podcast, I was like, this girl is talking our language. And I don't feel like there's many people that do, and like talking about values and talking about not being a victim and saying the word fuck in your intro of your podcast. Like, I'm like, this is our girl.
It's so funny. I'll play my intro in the car sometimes because I'm like, I record my podcast in the car and sometimes the audio's a little bit, and I'm like, let me just see how that episode turned out. And my son, he's 3.5, picks up the only thing. It's like, you're fucking awesome. You are fucking awesome. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, no. Oh my gosh. Like, why out of the whole intro do you? Of course you take that part.
But I mean, you can't be mad. You can't be mad.
Cute.
Okay, so I asked our members to ask questions, okay? Because I was like, Erika is coming, and what do you want to know from her? And a lot of them I want to know too. So this one is, and I've listened to all of your life lessons with Erika, so I know all the things. But what I don't know is I know how you ended up in Australia, but I don't know how you became who you are, the Queen of Confidence, the confidence queen. Like, how did you know you wanted to be that, and how did you make that happen?
Yes. Okay, Josie, do you have something? Because I feel like
I don't know how you ended up in Australia. So I did not see the life lessons. I did not listen to the life lessons podcast, although they've been highly recommended by Alicia. But I'm like saving them for like when I can go and I'm
Yeah,
going
and
for a long
cry.
walk, or I'm like, and she said like they're special. Like you need to be like in the mood to like really listen, So I'm
Yeah,
saving. It's like almost like I'm saving them. They're like dessert.
yeah, and don't wear
Um,
mascara because you'll cry.
yeah, that's what I've heard. So, but she's like, it's amazing. So I don't know. Give us like I guess the
Yeah.
short, quick version, but
Yep,
give us
yep.
everything that you want to give us as well.
So crazy, like traumatic past and childhood and upbringing, and obviously created a child who doubted themselves, didn't feel good enough, abandonment issues, all that stuff, and a lot of loss. Foster care, bipolar mom, kidnapped, sexual abuse, and then when I was 16, 17, I joined the army, and then I married my high school sweetheart, and then he went to Iraq, and then I went to boot camp, and then one year we were drinking and driving, and we crashed into this like ditch and a van and a store, and then a milk bar, and then I broke my back, and that was crazy. Had to learn how to walk again. I have metal in my body. And then the following year, my husband passed away. So it was just like shit storm of everything. And I didn't know what the work was. I didn't know what doing the work was. I grew up on food stamps in the ghetto, welfare, with no role models. And my mom was amazing. Like high five to the single mothers out there. She was amazing. And anyone with a mental illness or anything like that. But we didn't have that kind of role model world. So I was walking around wounded and feeling insignificant, and I met a man in Las Vegas, as you do.
Oh yeah.
One too many drinks and was like, "You're cool. I love you." Yeah, and I
Okay,
met him
but
in Las
wait.
Vegas.
How hot are Australian men?
I don't know. I feel See, I feel well, when I went on the airplane, Virgin Australia, it was literally like I couldn't have picked it. It was like blonde hair and brown tan skin and really tall and blue eyes and like hair, I didn't even know how to do, "How you doing, mate?" or something like that. And I was just like, "Oh my God, this is like Australia. Is there a kangaroo on this air flight?" Like it was pretty crazy. And then you get here and they look like everybody else. So
Yeah.
he was different. I grew up in the hood, so I had, like, men with baggy clothes or, like, black guys, Spanish guys. I'm Puerto Rican, and he was Greek, but Australian, and it's not the same as American Greek. I don't It's, like, real Greek, like, from Greece kinda thing. So, he was cool, and then I moved here. I was like, "I'm out. I'm gonna leave all my mess behind, and I'm gonna start fresh." I don't know if anybody listening is resonating with that, but it's like, my stuff will not follow me across the Pacific Ocean, and it did. Oh, it did, and I was like, he's a good dude, and he actually was a narcissist, like, shout out to him, like, I'm here because of him, and we've spoken, and he's cool, but he wasn't a good dude, and I attracted, in my lack, someone to prove how unworthy I was and how not good enough I was, and so I stayed there for 11 months, and then I didn't wanna come back to America because I was like, "I don't wanna see a kangaroo or a boomerang and then think of a failed relationship." The optimist in me, I think you guys have the same, "Nope, we're gonna make the best out of this terrible situation," right? I think you guys are the same. And so I was like, "I'm gonna move." I moved and I met another man, same man, different face. He was a Lebanese man and he was the same man. It was like the same thing, and I'm like, "Oh my God, what is going on?" He broke up with me on my birthday. Thank you. And my personal trainer, my service provider was like, "Hey, you've just moved to Melbourne." So I moved to Sydney for this other man, then moved to Melbourne for another man. Losers are us. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, "Girl, you are the common denominator. Like in your whole life, it's you with you." And it was like a moment of truth. I was like, "Shit, I can't blame, I can't shame, I can't point the finger. It's me against me." And I'm like, "How did I attract this?" And that was a really big moment. And that was the moment where I started finding out how it was my responsibility, not my fault, but my responsibility. And my personal trainer pointed me to coaching, and he was like spirituality and meditation. And I'm like, "What is this world? I'm a victim. I don't know this." And then obviously unraveled everything. I married my personal trainer because I'm a hoochie mama. And
Nah, Erika, listening to your podcast while I'm on my walks, I'm like nodding and being like, yes, and like texting Alicia and be like, "Oh, her new podcast, she said this." And like I often as well connected to weight loss and
Yep.
that mindset that people have when they've put themselves through obesity or
Yeah.
through the trauma of the diet industry, and just like
Mm.
being able to say like I've attracted this way of thinking and the way I'm thinking is making me behave in a certain way. It's like you have this gift of, and it's kind of crazy that you didn't like grow up knowing you had this gift. Like someone was
Yeah.
like, hey, you should go into coaching, but
You
then
know?
like your mouth and your words and are is everything about coaching. So it's very interesting to me
That's
that you didn't
crazy.
know
Yeah.
that you had that gift.
No, I thought I was gonna be a comedian. I really thought when I was 7 that I looked like Jim Carrey, just saying. I thought we were twins. I'm like, "Is Jim Carrey my dad?" Because I used to do the whole like, and I'm like, "I'm definitely Jim Carrey's daughter, just saying." And I was like, "I'm gonna be a comedian," and I loved acting, and I was like, "I'm gonna be a performer." Like, when I was a kid, I would see myself in the stadium that you guys are gonna create, standing on stage and just being like, and I was like, "I don't know what I'm gonna be doing." People are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know, but it's gonna be like a show." And like I didn't even know what it was. And it's so funny because I feel like I'm a performer and like I use my comedy and analogies in coaching. And I think a lot of people that tell me like, I don't know, but you say it differently. It's like I just see the stories and I make like some weird shit up on the fly, as I would love to take credit for it, but I actually don't know what the hell I'm gonna say, and then I don't remember, and I'm like, "Oh man, what did I say then? It was pretty good, like Lego building blocks, okay." Like, just crazy shit.
No, when I listen to your podcast, you're just like, oh, the one I listened to today, you're like, there was like metaphor, 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 metaphor. You're
Yeah.
like, maybe I'm the metaphor queen after all. It was really
It's like
good.
analogies, great. People be like, "That's crazy," but I understand. My husband just looks at me and goes, "How do women work? Like, do they understand what the hell you're talking about?" I'm like, "Yes, we do. We get it. We get the analogies."
Yes.
Um,
Do you
and
plan your podcast? Like, are you like, or do you know what topic you're going to talk about and then you go for it? Or you're just like, I have something on my chest and I'm going for it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm an intuitive poster and an intuitive podcaster, but I have, because we're organized business women and we don't mess around, we're building empires. I do have a list in Evernote of all the shit I should talk about. And when I get an idea, I'm like, boom, put it there. But I don't go like I know just Alicia, you heard the one about my husband, like that one's really full on. And I didn't actually want to record that podcast about losing my husband because I was always like happy and I feel good and I feel good and I'm intuitive and I have to feel good. And then one day I'm like, damn it, I got to do this podcast. And it was raining and I'm like, I'm going to tap into the rain. And then I was able to do it. But I was so happy that I didn't really want to go deep down into the sadness, but it had to happen. So I try to feel how I am and go with the environment. And I think the people love that because that's where they are. And it's like meet people where they are. Everybody's where I live in lockdown. So we're eating terrible food and we're numbing out with alcohol. So they need your work more than ever in Australia. Any country that's locked down, especially in New Zealand. Y'all should be doing ads in New Zealand. They need you.
They need you.
and I must say, like, you do meet people where they are. I don't know if I can name a more authentic human on the internet, and it is so refreshing. And you say the shit that people are thinking. You say it out loud and like with confidence and not shame, and it's like so refreshing.
Yeah.
Thank you so
I
much.
I have
Thank
to
you.
say, I really enjoyed your podcast with your husband. I
Yeah.
love your relationship. I love your love. I love that you really love your husband. I think that
Mm.
that doesn't
Yeah,
just
that's a good
happen.
thing. Yeah.
I do think that there's not a lot of women that
Yeah.
like go out and say like we have a great relationship, we communicate really well, like everything is fine,
Yeah.
like I love my husband, he's my best friend. Like not a lot of
Yeah.
people say that because it's like not the like it's like the taboo roll of the eyes kind of like,
Mm.
really, do you? Well, yeah, just
Yeah.
because you don't feel that way doesn't mean that I don't, that I don't want that
Yeah.
or feel that way.
Yeah, yeah, and I
Um,
think we don't think it's possible. Like, that can't be possible. You guys are together all the time. You're not the same person. You're so different. He's like a Cancer, calm crab, moody, kinda likes people, but not as much as I like people, and is so, like, like, frameworks and sister he's a man. He's such a dude head, and I'm like, "Blah," and so it's like, how does that work? But he's done so much work, and I've done so much work, and we do the work for ourselves, and then we come together as individual powerful people and then we create a power couple. It's like power couple doesn't happen by two people being, "Oh, let's be a power couple. That's really cute." No, you have to be a powerful individual, deal with your shit, the other person deal with their shit, come together with a clear backpack so you can pack it together, not with all your messy ass shit and your shit like, "Hey, take my stuff." It's like, "Oh my god, it's so heavy." So
Look at that metaphor. Look at
See?
that metaphor.
Dora the Explorer, backpack, backpack. Do you want all my trauma? It's like, no, I got my own. So
Oh, you like, oh man. Like the minute I started listening to your podcast, like I started like stealing, lack of a better word, but like
yeah, yeah.
the words that you were using, trauma and like just vivez pas, I'm française. So like it was just like
I
not
love that.
like I struggle with words sometimes, but I have so
Yeah.
much to say. So and we make fun of me all the time in English. It's all good. But I'm like, what's the word? What's the word? And you just like have helped me put into words like those like really deep, like with saying like heal your trauma. And like
Yeah.
we're trying to ultimately heal people's trauma with the diet industry and losing the
Yeah.
weight and gaining it back and feeling like they're broken. And like, so like it's that piece that they need to heal and
Yeah.
and forgive to be able to say, I can do this, I can rise above, I can also accomplish what these women have accomplished because they have knowing.
Mm.
That's another podcast that I just like
Yeah.
knowing versus knowledge. I was
Yeah.
like you gave me a breakthrough with our business. I'm like, that's why we're special. Like, it's like, I could
Yeah.
never like, I'm like, cause we did it. We lost weight. We like healed it. We figured out what worked. And I was like, we have knowing. We don't just have
Mm.
knowledge, and tons of
Yeah.
fitness coaches sometimes don't have knowing. They
Yeah.
have knowledge on getting you fit, getting you to weight loss, but knowing, like
Yeah.
going through, like you have knowing on trauma, so much
Yeah.
knowing,
I have
more than
knowledge
a
on weight
human
loss.
should.
I'm literally your client. Like we didn't talk about how I can sign up to your program and be like a VIP because that's an area. And I think it's important that people understand that like, oh, confidence. Yes, I know confidence. I am masterful at owning who I am and not giving a shit what anyone thinks. Like follow me for that. Don't ask me about how to be a good mom. Try and figure that out. Don't ask me about maybe press on nails. I'm a master at that as well. But don't ask me like about weight loss. Like we own a gym upstairs. There's a gym. My husband's been in the fitness industry for like 20 years. He's like the kind of trainer that you guys would love, holistic, beautiful, like all about the holistic side of it, not just smashing your body. And I have all of the knowledge, air quotes, but I struggled always with after the babies with weight, like always. So that's an area where I don't know. But the thing is, I have conscious unknowing. Like I'm conscious and I'm aware that I don't know what I need to do or that I don't do what I know. Like Tony Robbins says, people know what to do, they just don't do what they know. We know, eat well, exercise, you could have a six pack, right? Like it's not like crazy, but ain't nobody got no damn six pack. And maybe that's not your thing. And that's not definitely not my thing. But it's like, it's not that we don't know, it's that we're not doing what we know. And what gets in the way is all the head shit, which is why we love each other. Because like, if you
Yeah.
listen to us, you can lose all the weight and be happy and heal your shit.
It's all the head stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, when I like, I need to go back to the victim because when I hear you speak about things you've been through, when I hear you speak about your relationship with your mom, I am amazed at the way in which you can take that in and put that back out in the world, your relationship with your mom and your mom. I'm in awe of it. And I see people that have gone through different things, and I need to know how you just didn't be the victim. Like, how did you do that?
Yeah, I feel like I was for a long time. Like I was angry at her and I was
Okay.
poor me and I didn't get the mom that I needed and I didn't get the mom that I should have had, all that stuff. I think that's the normal part. You are in the victim space. And we say this respectfully, by the way, like many of you have been victimized. That's not what we mean. We mean playing the victim. So, I definitely was victimized, but now do I choose to play the role of victim? That's a different thing. So, I feel like when I started working on myself and coaching, I would have a lot of anger and aggression towards her.
Okay.
And then I realized that she was doing the best she could with what she knew and that she didn't purposefully try to damage me or hurt me. And she actually did everything she could with what she knew and she knew nothing else. And so I think how I was feeling was like, she did this to me. Like she hurt me, like purposefully. And even if she did, it's like, because she did that, I can't have XYZ. Because that happened to me, I can't be this kind of person. And it's like, I was almost like putting myself in a box of broken, damaged, not good enough, messed up, ruined for life because of my circumstances. And I realized through watching people like Tony Robbins or Nick, the guy that has no arms and no legs, or Oprah, or, any amazing person who's out there doing the damn thing that's had a terrible life, E.T., the preacher, I love Eric Thomas, like, these people have had a messed up ass life and they chose to change it and be incredible. And other people have had a messed up life and they choose to do drugs and be on the streets and whatever. And I'm just like, if it's a choice, how do I make that choice? Because that is more attractive to me. And it started with seeing my own anger, my own frustration, like what I was making it mean, my judgment towards my mom, my inability to forgive her, my inability to see that things are exactly as they should have been, or else I wouldn't be who I am. And I don't know what she went through. And I started standing in her shoes and I was like, whoa, sexual abuse, abandoned, lost her dad. Like, oh, wow. She grew up, in mental hospitals in Puerto Rico when mental illness was really frowned upon and she was electrocuted and treated horribly. And I'm like, damn, like my mom lacked confidence. No wonder she got with that guy who sexually abused me. Like, whoa. And then I really started to be her. And I think that the world could do with us standing in each other's shoes right now, no matter what side we're on about anything. If we can understand the other, then we can have compassion and then we can have a nice communication. So it took a while, but I think we're here now. And she gets to be who she is. She sucks many times. And it's cool because I know she does. I'm like, you're my mom. Of course, that's who you are. I don't expect some transformed Tony Robbins coach to show up on the phone call because I'm the one doing the work. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
You just really took the ownership and it's the awareness that you create. It's the awareness that it's the self-awareness that people are lacking that I really believe is holding them back from their dreams.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's one podcast where you're like, this shit happened to me. And like, I don't, not that you said it, you're like, not that I'm wishing it upon anyone else, but I'm like grateful for it because I got to heal it and go through the trauma. And now I can be who I am and I can help others do the same. And I almost felt the same way. Like I never regret being obese at such a young age and going through like that's tough for someone to be 12 and over 200 pounds and like, those emotions and not fitting in, but then like really trying to fit in because I was also funny and thought I was Jim Carrey's child. I mean, Jim Carrey is like, that's like good stuff.
Isn't he Canadian?
Yeah. Yes, he is.
See, I can't even handle you. Drake, Jim Carrey, Gabor Mate, you guys. I'm moving to Canada.
Oh my gosh. So, and that was like, I was like, I feel the same way. I would never wish upon a 12-year-old to live that obesity life. It's not fun. But for me, I'm like, it did happen to me. And I found a way to not be the victim and to kind of own it, si tu veux, and have knowing so that I could help others find what I found. Like I see it like when you do your podcast, I'm telling you, I can relate it so much to like, and I not, because obviously the trauma you've gone through also brings tears to our eyes because it's so intense and it's so like Alicia was like, when you listen, you're going to be like,
I'm walking on the side of the road and I'm like, like legit. It is like, oh my gosh.
I couldn't write. That's what happened. I couldn't write. And I wanted to write this book. And I'm like, who am I to write a book? I'm not like Brene Brown to have a memoir. Who am I to do this? Like, nobody knows the hell I am. And there's a lot of people with a crazy life. So I don't think that my life is the craziest. I just think it was pretty fucking crazy. And then especially the trip with my mom in Puerto Rico. That's when I'm going to do, Alicia, the life lessons. Because that was like, what is this a movie? Like, I actually can't believe it. Right. So I couldn't write it. So I was like, I'm going to talk it. And I'm a talker like you, Jose, we'd be talking. So I was like, if anybody's listening and you're struggling to tell your story, talk it out. Like if you're not a writer, you can talk it and just kind of unpack it. And then, and it was just like, oh, I can speak about this. And then there's people who they don't care about my story so much. It's about how do you see yourself in another person's story? And so I think that it's not my story because I'm not the only one in the world that's felt lack of confidence or self-doubt or got made fun of for my weight or whatever. All of us have this. So when Jose, when you tell your story about that 12-year-old, someone has a 12-year-old or someone is, 25 or 32 and they're like, man, when I was young, like, it's so beautiful because these stories aren't our stories. So I feel like when we tell the story, we are together and we all experience that healing and that validation. You get seen, and it's a really beautiful thing that we can do now. Yeah.
I would love for you to share with everyone what you do. Like, what does it look like in the life of Erika? What are you like? So I know you have the sisterhood and like you have like so many things. Tell us more.
Okay, so God, it's crazy. So I've got 2 babies, and my husband and I are both coaches, and we own like the gym, and he has a coaching business, and I have my coaching business. It is madness, but it's awesome. My work is about how do we scale care? How do we support more women? Like literally, that's what we're trying to do right now. Is like how do we scale care? It's like so the sisterhood is a life coaching program where we work on 6 major areas. It's when I used to coach one-on-one, and I will never coach one-on-one life coaching ever again because I would get women in my office and it'd be like, Alicia, Erika, let me tell you about my trauma and what happened to me. And I'm like, cool. We work through it. And then Jose comes in and I'm like, wow, if Alicia could meet Jose and see that, she wouldn't feel so alone. She wouldn't feel so damaged. She wouldn't feel so, taken out of society. She'd be like, oh, someone like me. And I started seeing these women and I'm like, we need to get together. And I feel like my ancestral wisdom or whatever's here, I feel like we used to do this. I feel like back in the day, women would come together in circle and we would share our shit and we would have babies and we would share and talk and no one would feel alone because we would all hold space for each other. And I'm like, how do we bring that back globally in sisterhood with an A, right? So like we got to do this. So the sisterhood is a year-long coaching experience. I'm in there coaching live. We have workshops. It's very much me in there, but it's individual work in a group setting. And the reason is because when we have 80 women on Zoom and someone's sharing about their sexual abuse with no trigger warning, and someone else hears it and goes, "Oh my gosh," they connect, she shares, I coach, do what I do. And instead of one person receiving some support and impact and feeling seen, heard, and validated, it's like 70 people. And we do this. This is how it works. And it's freaking incredible. Um, I'm obsessed with it. I think it's scaling coaching, it's scaling healing, and it's acceptance. And we get to see people for how they are instead of thinking everybody has a great life and I'm the only messed up one. That's bullshit. We all are messed up, and that's our beauty. That's the beauty that you are went through that stuff. That's what makes you amazing. So
Yeah.
that's sisterhood. And then I have Scale Squad, which I love. It's like, oh, and it's like a business program. So it's like a mastermind. And I
Mhm.
help women who are coaches. I help coaches particularly to grow a business that they can scale so that they can,
Yes.
scale their impact, scale their income, make money, and help people. And it's kind of an extension of us being able to help more people through our coaches
Yeah.
and also having integrity in this industry because everybody's a coach now. And I'm not saying you need to go to school, but you definitely you can't just be like, I want to help people because that wanting to help people can actually hurt people if you don't have the tools, if you don't have the skills, if you don't have the experience. You can open people up in their trauma and then leave them open. And that shit is dangerous. So it's about helping coaches actually build an incredible business, not burn out, and help more people scale their care. And I love the business side of things. And it's not like thousands and thousands of people. It's a smaller kind of container. We really want to help these people make money. And it's women as well. Women need to be making money. As you know, it's very powerful. When we have money, we can make choices and have more freedoms. And I think we're the ones that are going to impact the world.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, guys, where do we need to go right now? Where are we going? Like we're taking this shit over.
Oh, Erica.
October 29. That's where we're going. Get your tickets,
Oh,
yo. Oh my God, I can't wait.
yes. Yes. I mean, I know what your theme's gonna be at the event, and I'm like, the people are gonna eat that shit up, and it's gonna be so good, and they're gonna feel so good. Like it's such a feel good girls' night.
Yeah.
Choose happy. I mean, you keep saying that everything's a choice, and
Mm,
it's your responsibility, and like
yes.
that can feel scary, but for someone like me, it feels powerful. Like, oh,
Of
thank you
course.
for telling me that there's a choice for me to be taken, like I can choose what I
Yes.
want.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you think about it, it's raining today, and I could be like, "Oh, what a crap day. Like the rain is horrible." Or I could be like, "I love the rain. It's amazing." And blah blah blah. I mean, we get to choose whatever we want. Like the beautiful Wayne Dyer, who I love, he always says he was asking a lady and it's like, "Hey, how are the people in Canada?" It's like, "Well, where do you live?" "I live in Australia." "Well, how are the people in Australia?" It's like, "Oh, they're horrible and they suck and they're mean." It's like, "Well, the people in Canada will be the same then." And it's like if you see sucky, horrible, bad things, doesn't matter where you go, you're gonna find evidence again. So it's like, how can you create your world? How can you, if something's triggering you or bothering you, or it's like a light going off in the dashboard of your car, and you're like, oh, what is that? What is that? Instead of projecting outside, it's like, look inside, get quiet. What is that that's bothering me? What about what she said bothered me? Why do I care that my mother thinks this? Why do I give a shit that my son wants to eat chips and I can't? And I'm angry at him because I want to clean the cupboard and blah, he should want to do what I do. I'm like, he's 12, girl. He wants to eat chips. You don't have to eat chips because you're like 40. So make a decision. Like, why do we get triggered? And that's the whole question is like, I can't suffer. Like we cannot suffer when we question why we're suffering, question our thoughts. It's like we're believing thoughts that are stressful. That's why we're suffering. And when we do the work, it's like, oh my gosh, I have freedom. I can choose how I want to feel.
I just had a moment where I find that on both of our platforms, Instagram, let's just go with that, we
Yeah.
really are trying to create a space for more self-awareness. We're putting things on the table for you to take home and to think about,
Yeah.
and then you just do your thing. And I do think that it's a hard time to be on social media sometimes because it triggers people, but we're trying to like be like, oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting that you're triggered by this. Go and do the work now. Go and
Mhm.
figure out why that's triggering you because that's your responsibility. That's like
Totally.
on you to figure that shit out. And we both kind of have or create that platform for the world is self-awareness. Like
Yeah.
let's talk about it. Let's figure out why we're feeling this way and attack that feeling and not put it out in the world like it's their responsibility. Like
Yes.
don't post that because that triggers me. I mean,
Exactly. And I love like one of the podcasts I love, and it's like my fuck you to the world is like, people don't trigger you, you get triggered. And I don't know how many women were like, don't say that, blah. And it was like, forward, comments off. It's my platform. I'm going to talk about it. And like, that's the reality. You're right. It's like, we won't want to look inside because like, God forbid that we find something that we're not comfortable with. And I'm like, it's already there. If it's going off inside of you, I would say, and I know it's not easy, you guys. It's like cute, like, oh, it's so easy. Just do the work. I know it's hard and it should be hard. And that's why the book is like confidence feels like shit. And that's why I'm like, none of this is comfortable. Eating well and losing weight and changing your entire life when you're in an environment that's not that environment and you're fighting what is, like, I get it. You know, we know it's not easy, but the point is that you can do it. Exhibit A, exhibit B, exhibit C, like you can do it. And so these
Yeah.
women that walk around being the exhibit, being the light when you're in the dark, it's like you ladies are light beams. Like I don't know if you're in Wreck-It Ralph Part 2, when the little light thing goes up, y'all know because you're mothers. You know, it's like, shh, that's you guys.
Oh
And
my
people are just like,
God.
oh, I need to be like that. How do I fly into the light? It's like, follow us, you know, instead of getting upset about it. You know, I have women that are like, I had to unfollow you, but I'm back. I'm like, welcome back, girl. No, no, you know, I don't take it personal because I know it's hard to hear. Like, I know it's hard to hear, but we're confident to say we get it because we were there. And that's the only reason why we could trigger you, because we are you. We're just on the other side of it. And now we're talking about hindsight, and you might be there right now. And that's really hard. But if we got over here, take the bridge, like, come on, here's the hand, take the rope, let's go, you know?
I feel like we're both at a place like even for when we do lives, Liege, or when we're even on our community, it's like there's people know our intentions and they understand why we're
Yeah.
putting out the hard conversations, and it's
Yeah.
not to trigger them, it's to talk about it. And we're like getting really good feedback. Like I did this live after being so inspired by your live about healing your trauma and all that. So I went on our Sneepy group and talked about like, you have trauma from the diet industry, you have thoughts
Yes.
and beliefs, and you're
So
so
much language,
confused.
so much noise.
Like so
Yes.
much noise
Yes.
and confusion, and you're like trying to put all the pieces, and then on top of that you have baggage and experience
Mhm.
and lack of trust in yourself and
Lack of
your
patience.
yeah, exactly. And so I was
Yeah.
talking about healing trauma, and one girl commented, what if eating is a part of healing your trauma? And I'm like, but is it? And she's like,
Yeah.
so true. That could have been like, that's rude, you know? But I'm like, you know what? If she's ready to like have that
Mhm.
conversation with herself, like, is eating a box of crackers healing the trauma?
Yeah.
Like, it's doing
Yeah.
nothing for your trauma. It's just
Yes.
it's helping you for the emotion short term. But if you really
Exactly.
think about it, food does not heal your trauma. Healing your
No.
trauma heals your trauma.
Big.
Like,
Can you make that a quote on your Instagram? Please, everybody, food does not heal your trauma. Healing your trauma heals your trauma. It's so true. And the thing is too, it's like when you have a headache, I don't do this because I'll get period pain or anything. You take a headache medicine or a aspirin or whatever it's called. And you're like, oh, my head doesn't hurt anymore. It's like your headache is still there. You just numbed out that pain, but it's not gone away. So yes, in the moment, you might feel comfort from fried chicken. You might feel comfort from potato chips or chocolate or whatever that story you're telling yourself. But when that's done, you actually feel worse. And it's one of my mentors used to use this example of like thoughts create feelings, which create your actions and your result, right?
We
And
say
we
that
know
all the
this.
time. We say that all the time. We say that all the
But
time.
it's actually right. It's so true, right? So it's literally, if anybody's listening, they're not lying. Please trust these women. It's like the way our minds work. And women are very like, no, I just feel. I'm like, no, girl, there's a thought. You just haven't slowed down that crazy ass 80,000 thoughts a day to catch the thought. And we don't do the work to catch the thought. So something happens. We get a thought, feeling, whatever. And one of my mentors used to be like, thought, oh no, circumstance, my jeans don't fit. Thought, I'm fat and disgusting. Action, or sorry, feeling, I feel shit, I feel horrible, I feel gross. What's the behavior? Eat ice cream, sit on the couch, cancel plans. There's a study that shows that 90% of women in the world, this is a global study by Dove, will cancel or opt out of plans based off of the way that they look. So 89% of women cancel plans, don't show up. I've been one of those women. Don't go to the job interview, don't go to the party because we feel like we're not good. We don't show up. So what do? We eat, we sit on the couch, we feel sorry for ourselves. Number 4, what's the result? Or number 5, what's the result? You feel shit, not good enough, and disgusting. So your result is always going to feed back to the thought. And I'm like, what about my jeans don't fit? Thought, need to buy some more jeans. Nope. Women are like, I'm terrible. I'm gross. If you don't pay attention to this shit runs your life. And of course, you keep eating and you do the thing, you keep getting the same result. You literally have to do some different shit that feels uncomfortable and almost breaks you into seeing that the same thing attracts. Look at the men. I had the same men in my life, had the same bank account issues. I had the same, my body was great before my kids, but same issues in my external world. And so for me, I'll be vulnerable and say, like, I don't eat shit. I just don't eat enough. And I'm not exercising because I'm obsessed with my work. I'm like addicted to my work. And yeah, it's great work, but it's not great to be addicted to my work. I still need to, take a time out, sit up straight, roll all the freaking rhomboid situation because I'm on the computer, move my body. It's like, that is not something I've mastered. I don't talk about it because I haven't mastered it, but I know that there's a story and I keep doing the same shit. I'm going to keep getting the same result. So in regards to my health and fitness, like, girl, this is the shit. I've got it in other places, but I don't have it there yet. And I think a lot of us struggle with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you said out of that, I love that you said, do some different shit. Like, because we had this extremely vulnerable moment where we were live on like a workshop and we talked about weight gain and we said, you are not a bad person because you gained weight. Like, can we all stop being ashamed of gaining weight? Can we all just like own it? Hey, I gained 20 pounds this year. Like, why does it have to be so dramatic? And just like telling you that you're not bad, you're not bad, you're not bad. And then we can move on and do some different shit. Like, please stop doing what you did every single time you lost weight and then gained it all back. Like, let's stop that cycle. Let's start here. That's what we want people to do, to start here.
Yeah. And Erika, like, just when people join Your Weight Loss, like, they do not get a meal plan. They do not get an exercise
I love
plan.
that.
We do not tell people what to eat. I think we're like maybe the only weight loss program that does not give any, they get a recipe book that Alicia is
heart and soul in that bad boy.
If you know anything, I do not do any recipes.
Yeah.
But anyways, they get a self-awareness program. At the end of the day, they get they get videos to help them reflect and know themselves to the core so that they can know where to start. And they think that knowing where to start is what they need to eat for breakfast tomorrow morning. And I'm like, that is not where you need to start.
Symptom, girl. That is symptom shit. That is the world that we live in. It is the symptom world. It is, oh, I gained weight. What do I need to do? And it's like, no, you don't need to do. Who are you being? And that's why you're gaining the weight. Girl, I love the eyes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. For the last year, I wanted to ask you this. So for the last year, we've been saying to our members, stop worrying about what you need to do to lose weight and start worrying about what you need to do to show up as who you want to be one day at a time. Who do you want to be today? Like, who do you want to be today? And we tell them to make sure that who you want to be aligns with your values, your goals, your preferences, your priorities, your environment. And they say to us, some people say, I don't know who I want to be.
Okay.
How do we teach people that?
We're gonna do it now.
Oh,
Okay,
she's
great.
like, yeah,
So
there you
there's
go.
this very old school coaching thing that I don't think is very sexy, but we can make it sexy because we're us.
Yeah.
It's like that be do have, right? That be do have situation. So let's use Beyonce because she's great, right? Uh, people
Beyonce.
say,
We love
right,
Beyonce.
we love you, Beyonce. So it's like, if I had Beyonce's body, like, oh girl, if I had Beyonce's body, I would do what Beyonce does and I would be Beyonce. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't. Because if you were being Beyonce, you would have her result. So instead of like, if I had it, I would do it and I would be it. It's like, no, you need to be Beyonce. If you all close your eyes right now, unless you're driving, don't do no dangerous shit. But if you're like, okay, I'm going to be Beyonce right now, today, in this moment, what would Beyonce do right now? What would, Serena Williams do right now? What would Jose and Alicia do right now? What would Erica do right now? And you be that, and you're like, oh, she would choose to go running. She would go for a walk. She would eat this. She would dance for 8 hours, 10 hours straight until that dance routine was damn good. She would speak up to that person. She would raise her hand. She would stand up. She would say, no, mother, I'm not doing that, whatever. What would she do? If you were being her now, if you were being the highest version of yourself already, go to that future you. Joe Dispenza that shit. Visualization is so powerful. Where is that person that you want to be? You can find her in your head and you can find her in your heart. And if you struggle with visualization and finding the you in the future, go to someone you look to. Go to your expander. Go to your Gwyneth Paltrow. Go to your Beyonce, J-Lo, whoever. J-Lo is mine. I love J-Lo. We Puerto Rican, so she's my cousin. You go to J-Lo. She's fucking hot. Oh my God.
We
And
love
I
her
go
so
to
much.
J-Lo. Yeah. And I love her too. I talk about her in my book. Because you're like, oh yeah, if I had her trainer, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Because she get up at 4 a.m. and she does that workout. Nobody is doing her crunches. Nobody is eating her food. They cooking that shit because she's got the money and freedom and money and all that. But she has to sweat the sweat on her face. She does that. You can't buy that sweat and pretend. So if you go to that future you or that person that you want to be like, if it's you ladies, whoever, and this is not just weight loss, every part of your life, you go to that future person and go, if I was them now, if I magically close my eyes, put my hand in my heart or your womb or whatever feels good for you, I'm them. I'm going to exorcism myself to be them. Okay, I open my eyes. Now I'm walking around with their lenses, with their face, with their body. What would I do? Would Beyonce eat McDonald's right now? Hell no. What would Beyonce do? Well, she'd be dancing 8 hours. She's moving. She's doing shit. So if you be her now, you will do what she does. Then you will have the result that she has. You got to be her, do her, have her.
That
Yes.
was
Yeah.
beautiful.
That was beautiful. And we always say, like, stop. Basically, you should not wake up in the morning and be like, how can I act today to get weight loss today? That should never
No.
be. Your intentions behind any action, any behavior should never be, I am just doing this for weight loss. That is
The end
not.
goal. Yeah. Yeah. But also, like, I should not yell at my kids to be a mean mother. It's like, no, if you yell at your kids, I'm sorry, Baba. I'm sorry. I'm frustrated. That's not who I want to be. That's not the mom I want to be. That's not the parent I want to be. That's not the friend I want to be. I gossiped about you. I'm so sorry. We suck at being responsible. We really do. We want to blame the world as to why we don't have what we want. So just be like, cool. I ate shit. It wasn't gluten-free bread. Damn it. Okay. All right, body, I'm sorry. I love you. Tomorrow we make a better choice. Or tonight we make a better choice. Every second you have a fresh new start. You don't get to, New Year doesn't mean shit in other countries that they have it in fucking February or March. So it's like, yeah.
Erica. Yes.
Legit.
Yes.
Legit. We talk about how annoying it is when people say new year, new you.
Oh my God. They should
Like,
be
that will
sued.
never be a part of our marketing.
Never.
Never. And
Nope.
you know what? You said something. It's not sexy. And we say that a lot too about, I say it about your weight loss. I say it's not sexy until it is, because we're not telling you what to do. And I'm not going to tell you you're going to lose X amount of pounds. I'm going to tell you that if you put in the work though, you're going to get to be the best version of yourself that you could ever imagine, and that you can reach the potential that you know deep down is waiting for you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you could see it, you already have it. You just
I
have to
know.
become her.
I
She
know.
exists. We know, girl, don't even get me started about time not being linear, all that jazz, space and time. We know that it's like any goal and dream that you have in your head is not ridiculous. You can achieve it. Children believe that. When we become adults, we get all responsible and thinking, we can't do that. It's like, yes, you can. You can actually go forward and achieve that thing. If you see it in your head, it's possible for you. You just have to meet her, meet the future you. What is she doing? I reverse engineer my business. I reverse engineer everything. If I want to be a global speaker and be on Oprah's couch, what does that look like? Well, it doesn't look like one-on-one coaching. It doesn't look like taking clients just for money. It doesn't look like scarcity. It doesn't look like whatever. So then I reverse engineer. What do I need to do now if I want to meet her in the future? What can I do today? What can you do today that your future you is already doing? Like your future you is choosing to move her body.
And your future you is not a look or a number. It's a
Exactly.
person. It's who
Yes.
you
It's a
are.
result of full life.
The whole thing.
Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
this was beautiful.
I like our time is coming to an end. It's so
For
sad, but
now.
at least we get you for October 29th.
Yes. And you're
I
going to
want
be
to
on my
ask you.
podcast as
Oh,
well.
yes.
And we're going to live. You guys, this is not the end. This is the beginning.
Oh, yes.
Yay.
Okay. I need to ask you one last question. I want to ask Jose this question too, actually, because I knew like you said, if you can see her, she's there. I saw her. And I knew I was not reaching my potential as a mom, as a wife. I saw her. I want to know if you feel the same. Like Jose, when you were an overweight teenager, did you see what was there?
1000% yes. I mean, I know you know my story, Leash, but for me to be at that young age and already be questioning the diets I was joining, already being like, that's not who I want to be, though. Why do I need to do it that way? Why?
Okay, she was 14 years old. She calls up. She goes, excuse me, I can't eat chili anymore.
I
And they're
called
like,
up the diet I had joined.
calls the man, I can't eat chili anymore. And how come my neighbor who's not overweight can eat a banana after 3 p.m.?
Because on the diet plan they had put me on, I couldn't eat a banana after 3 PM. It was
Oh
like a
my
serious
God.
rule. And like I was like on these weird rules and I just like did not understand. And I was already questioning at 14, like, I don't want to eat this. What happens?
Nice. Nice.
Anyways, so for me, I already was limited where I was going to shop. I obviously was limited already with my fashion and I couldn't be who I wanted to be at 13 at 220 pounds already. I couldn't be confident. I couldn't get boys. I couldn't have a date for my grade 8 prom. That is not Jose. Jose has a date. There is someone that wants to go with her. She will, So it's quite funny. People are like, oh, did you just do it for, for the boyfriends or whatever? No, I deserved to feel like I was showing up. It was important to me. I mean, at 13, my values aren't low cholesterol. My values are shopping at American Eagle or
Kissing a
having
boy.
a date.
Yeah.
Boys.
Yeah. Feeling worthy. Yes.
Feeling worthy.
Yeah.
So I knew that there was better than, and I was so young, but I knew, I was like, who am I going to marry if I'm 220 pounds and I just keep gaining and I'm only 12? Like I already had those conversations.
Wow.
I knew that there was better for me.
See, this chose y'all. And I feel the same. Like that this work that I do as a coach fully chose me. Because I'm not religious, but I had this thing in my head of a book, like God is my coat hanger. And it was always this thing. It was like, I feel like I could have fallen. And I feel like I kind of brushed the floor with my button, like I definitely was down there, but like, it's like, you're not dropping. I'm not letting you go. Something wouldn't drop me. And it wasn't my mom. It wasn't my role models. It wasn't like me. Cause I was like, I'm a piece of shit on the floor, but I was on this coat hanger, just hanging literally by a thread. And I never fell off. And then finally found the right people. And now I'm like a fur jacket on, like a bougie, gorgeous blinged out coat hanger, right?
You are.
But it was like something is, and then I look and I'm like, oh my God, it chose me. Like, of course I had to go through all this stuff and I am my client. Like, I'm like, yep, sexual abuse, I see you. Yep, foster kid, I see you. Lost someone, I see you. Yep, black, I see you. Like I can resonate. Miscarriage, I can resonate. Like I can resonate with a group of people. I probably have been through something similar. And then I go, how blessed am I that I can say, me too, I get you, I'm with you, instead of like, oh no, I don't understand any of that. Like then I couldn't connect as deeply as I do. So I only can connect that deeply because I went through that. So I feel like we were chosen 1,000,000%. My sexy future me, body and soul and health and heart I see her as well. And J-Lo, thank
Okay.
you for being the example.
Oh my God, I say that
yeah.
all the time. Like I use J-Lo as like, I'm gonna be like J-Lo
J-Lo goals.
when I'm 50, like J-Lo goals. We have a podcast that's the one about J-Lo and just talk about our love for J-Lo. Like
She's
we love
amazing.
She is
And
amazing.
I love her because she works. That's why I love her. I love Beyonce because she works. Because I'm like my Puerto Rican body. I've seen J-Lo pregnant and I've seen Beyonce pregnant. And I look at my body and you know your body types. I'm like, yeah, I could be. We have the same body. Like I could be blown out. I'm that curvy body type. I'm not like I'm gonna always be thin, like those people that can never gain weight. Which that doesn't mean they're healthy, but that body type. So I look at J-Lo and Beyonce. I'm like, okay, I understand we are the body types, and I'm like, yes, high five. So that's my goal as well. Yes. So I'll be
We
signing
support you. Guys, if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, I see my potential, I see my future self. I want you guys to know that we didn't know exactly what steps we needed to take and when we needed to take them. All we did was commit to taking a step and commit to keep stepping. Like, so
Yeah.
it's as simple as that. There's no secret. There's no perfect. It just go.
Yes.
All right, Erika, I just want to take one really fun pick before you go. I know that it's like we're
We're pushing you right to the end of time.
Okay.
Right to your limit, girl. Okay,
love
let's
you.
smile.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Thank you
Too much.
so much times a million. Like so
love
bucket
you.
filling. So bucket filling.
We're gonna chat. Erika, you're gonna tell me all the links to people can find you, her podcast,
Yes.
the
Yes,
Chronicles.
come find me on
of
Instagram
Content.
because we're friends on Instagram. We love
Yes.
Instagram.
Instagram, let's do it. So you need to follow her everywhere. Find her, Queen of Confidence. You rock. You are one beautiful human.
I love
Inside
you.
and out. Inside and out.
Inside and out. Like
Thank you for doing what you do.
physically beautiful you are, but you're.
I love you. We
You
love you.
deserve
We have a love
everything.
affair, and I cannot wait for the 29th of October. Please get a ticket. It's going to be in the show notes, I'm sure.
Yes.
Come and hang out with us. It's going to be the best fun night to claim your happiness because you deserve it. Doesn't matter what weight you are. Okay, let's do the
Reclaim your confidence.
Yes, girl. I love you guys.
Bye,
I love
everyone.
you.
We love you.
Bye.